Thanks for joining us on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Now, the reason I'm in a bit of a somber mood right now is not because India's bowled out South Africa. They haven't bowled them out. They've restricted South Africa to 149, need 150 to win. It's looking good for Team India and Virat Kohli. But the reason I'm in this sort of a mood right now is because I thought on my very first show, the English show on Cricbuzz Live, I would walk away with the expert couch. But instead, it's going to Mr. Joy Bhattacharya. Congratulations, sir.
I'm not used to this at all. Nice one. Well done, fella.
What were you thinking?
Got it spot on.
178?
If there wasn't a train crash, it would have been fine, actually. Right on target. And then, bam, everything fell apart. But hey, such is life, it can happen.
It can happen. Let's just show you now how it played out, that South African innings. It started really well with Captain Quinton de Kock getting 52 of 37, but ever since that wicket fell, it all went haywire for Team South Africa. Temba Bavuma on debut making 49 of 43 though. David Miller, Killer Miller, wasn't really that killer on the night. 18 of 15. Deepak Chahar, the pick of the bowlers for India. 2 wickets to him. Hardik Pandya getting 1. Ravindra Jadeja getting 1. 150 to win. Looks easy peasy now for India to walk away with the win.
Not easy peasy. It's never easy peasy. First game of a series, you're rusty, you've just come in a bit, it's never easy. But India's played that extra batsman. So I think they've got a fairly, long batting lineup and very short tail. So I think that will play in India's favour if they have a decent start. And also they have experience. I think what cost South Africa today was just inexperience in the lower order, That inability, once that partnership went, their inability to be able to play out properly was their problem.
Let's take a look at the innings progression now. And that inexperience that Joy was talking about, overs 1 to 6. Pommie, 39 for 1, run rate 6.5. 7 to 15, they really capitalized, 7.8 run rate. But then 16 to 20, generally when you want to take it up to 10, 11, it's remained at 7.
Yeah, so that's what's happening. And you can see, I suppose, if you look at the innings and you look at South Africa's personnel, Quinton de Kock's importance is heightened just simply because of what happened, the way he plays and the fact that he has an attacking game up at the front but can be a touch game where he's just trying to hit the boundaries and just get the ball through the gap rather than look to go over. And then as he goes on, he's able to also have a power game and hit the ball out the ground. What happened with Temba Bavuma is he comes in and the boundaries that he gets, in fact, the way that he plays is he just plays normal cricket shots. You asked at 10 overs where he's been because he was batting so well. It's because he's been pigeonholed, and a strike rate of 113, 114 at international cricket in 2020s is not going to be acceptable. It's not going to win you many games. Perhaps if you're chasing and you figure that that's kind of what you need to do, okay. And he's had to reinvent himself. When he lost to Kock, it asked something extra of him because you also had a David Miller who was trying to get himself in. It then said, well, actually, you don't have time to get yourself in. You've got to play shots straight away because he's kind of having to bat for one side and the other. And that's where South Africa were found wanting. And in a time to come, so next game, and I'm thinking ahead already, it might well be a case where they say, can't bat Bavuma there, have to bat him up at the top to start. That's why I was saying also, Reza Hendricks and him, and then Quinton de Kock. Who do they have batting first with Quinton de Kock? And Bavuma, because of the restriction, because of no power game, might well have to bat up at the top.
A word on India's bowling now, Joy. And South Africa they started really well, took on the Indian bowlers, but then they made a good comeback. 11 to 20, I think there were 2 boundaries, 2 fours.
Yeah, absolutely. 11 to 20, there were just 2 overs which were more than 10 runs and above, of which the 20th over was 16 runs. That's really, otherwise 7.88 restricting any team to that kind of a score, especially they still had wickets in hand. It wasn't that their backs were totally to the wall. I thought they did a really good job, and Saini bowled well, Deepak Chahar bowled well coming back. I think Washington Sundar, possibly they bowled him that extra over. They didn't need to, but all in all, I think it was what you call a discipline. It is comparatively inexperienced compared to Indian standards, but it's a disciplined performance, and they did well for themselves. I thought they did really well.
Deepak Chahar in particular, good change-ups, lots of variations, and of course got the result as well.
Yeah, look, you can only play who's in front of you. You can only play who you're playing against. I tend to differ slightly with you, Joy, in that I think they'll feel they didn't bowl as well as they could. Up at the front, too varied and too much given away. perhaps it was part of the plan or why to Quinton de Kock. He likes width. That's what he likes to get. Some short balls that without too much conviction at Bavuma. And, you know, maybe you'll go with, oh, they don't really know the guys that well. And I think in the end, you count yourself lucky as a bowling lineup if a side can get up to about 8 and over and then crumble. Because that's when you're most under pressure. Now you're trying to come back for spells that are 1 over, 2 overs each, and you're trying to stay in the game. Instead, it wasn't about staying in the game at all. They came in and kind of seemed to all just fall into place. And not necessarily because they bowled incredible deliveries, but because the batting wasn't up to par. The batting was, you know, less than good, if I can put it that way. And as I say, you can only play who's in front of you, so you give the credit to the bowler. But if they're sitting in the change room right now as bowlers, they'll go, whew, got away with some there. Because on another day, a side gets to that position, we're under a whole lot more pressure because we haven't done sufficiently well in the beginning to put them under pressure.
Now, Pet, commentator dialogue, and you would know this is, you'd say the stage is set. And the stage was pretty much set for David Miller to come and play a big one. He had about 7, 8 overs.
Miller's one of the strangest, for me, one of the strangest phenomena in international cricket because he seems to have all the talent. There are days where he's absolutely unstoppable. But there are days where he just fades away, he goes away. He doesn't, you know, I've never seen him, except, you know, for a player of his experience and his ability, when he gets in, he should be taking the game by the scruff of the neck, and he doesn't do it enough. And that's what bothers me. And I think the one thing that South Africa is going to look at this tour, they're going to say, says we probably needed to carry another batsman in. They probably are carrying a batsman short to this part of the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you ought to have options. But I think Miller does better if you give him a bit more time. And by that I mean, instead of coming in the straitjacket role of
Finisher.
You smash it out the ground and go from ball 1, he prefers to come in and just bat a normal innings and then explode. And in many instances, whether he's playing for Kings 11 or he's playing for South Africa, that's when he actually does well. Whether it's one-day internationals, whether it's 2020 cricket. I don't think I can never sort of pinpoint a time where he walks in and is going to finish an innings and just smashes it and it just happens. Yeah, so you kind of get this impression, but when you look at the numbers, that's not what happens with the guy. And so his preference is not where he bats. It's just there's this picture of him and there's this idea of him as the guy who can walk in and smash it from the beginning. Generally, not too many guys like that. Maybe a Hardik Pandya who doesn't mind doing that, but all the others, they need just a few balls, 5, 6, 7, 10, you know, situation to be like that so that they can then try and go once they've got themselves there.
Now, let's focus on the Indian chase now. Need 150 to win in the second T20 International at Mohali. One battle that everyone's looking forward to, Joy, is Rohit Sharma versus Kagiso Rabada. More so now because you saw visuals of Virat Kohli holding his back. Now, I don't know what's happened to the back, but there might be a chance that he might not bat or might not come in.
Yeah, they wouldn't risk it.
So the value of his wicket all the more then.
Yeah, I think they will look at it very seriously and they will not risk it. It's not a big enough, this is not a World Cup tournament or a crunch match. If he doesn't need to bat, they'll probably like to not bat him, which is actually a good opportunity for all the others to step up. I think Rabada would be told by de Kock saying, you're my lead bowler, go get their lead batsman. Set the tone of the match. It's not just about Rohit, it's about Rohit and Shikhar. Both of these guys can take the match away. He'll be saying, set the tone of the match, get a couple of wickets early, let's put their backs to the wall, let's see what happens then. And he said, you're my lead bowler, you got to do this for me.
Yeah. How would you use him?
Good. Rabada?
Yeah,
it's a tough one now. I mean, if you have a decent score, I think the way I look at it is I'd like him to get wickets up front, but I would like to have a threat all the way through the innings. And so you might be tempted to go 1, 1, 1, 1. Ideally, if he's going well, actually, you might be forced to go 2, 1, and 1 somewhere, right? Or 2 and 2. And the 2 at the end kind of depends on how the game's going and how everybody else is going. So you can't be rigid in the way that you think about it. But 2 up at the front is because you think, oh, he's got a couple and he can get another one or he can get another couple, whatever you're thinking. And the attacking is going. With the score being paltry at 149, you then need him to do a whole lot of work up at the front. So your attacking is more at the front of the game than trying to look to defend at the back end. And so I think it's definitely going to be 2 up at the front, and then you mix and match at the other end to see how you get through that power play and then work it from there. But you can't afford for him to come at the back end of the game with one more over or two more overs with just about the game done. You got to try and win it with your game breaker, and that's Rabada. So you expect him to kind of have bowled quite a lot by the time the game's coming to an end. And my expectation, as should be India's expectation, is that they should get these runs.
Should get them pretty easily as
well. I don't know about easily, but they should get there.
I tried saying that at the start of the show as well. I mean, I get the point. I mean, the 149, it's never an easy target. But from an Indian point of view, if before the game you know you've got a target of 149 chasing in Mohali, you'll take it because of the batting prowess.
100%. 149 in Mohali, you take any time, where it averages 165, 170, you take it. Two X factors now. One is Virat, question mark on Virat, and Virat is a huge part of this team. Two is that, first match, unknown entity, Nortje also, he's pretty quick, he's got wheels. So he goes in, gets a couple of wickets, and we don't always play pace as well as, if you get past our top two, our players are not that good against pace as they used to be. So it'll be interesting to see, and because they'll go, the advantage is, as you said, they're not going to defend now. They can't defend.
Can't defend.
So they'll go flat out.
Joy Pommie, thank you so much for joining us. We, of course, will be with them at the end of the game. Just a reminder, the winner... Wait, let me drop my mood again. The winner of the My 11 Circle Expert Couch was Joy Bhattacharya, sir. Congratulations, as always, for getting your predictions wrong. Correct? Pommie, you got it way wrong. Like way wrong, 178.
Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Look, many more games to come.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Guys, thank you so much. We, of course, will join you at the end of the 10th over with the Cricbuzz Kong Boss. You were watching My 11 Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live.